Here we go.
One have a potty mouth as well.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to KUMB TV's Eyes Up Mother Brown. We are back once again for another West Ham United live clash. This time it's the Europa Conference League trip to Denmark. Another one, you say? Yes, another one, no less. Second in a few weeks. We were in Viborg a few weeks ago. Now, tonight, we're in, where are we tonight? Silkeborg. Silkeborg. Just up the road, actually. West Ham looking to improve on that impressive start. 3-1 win last week against FCSB of Romania, and looking to put another 3 points on the board tonight over in Denmark. Should begin by welcoming the merry band who are joining me this evening. On this side, I've got there's Nick next to me, and sort of over there, there's I think it's cut out as Rio, returned from the sunny isle in the Caribbean, looking very very brown. And then this side, we have Gnome.
Hey, Neil.
Kind of sort of intermingled with your sofa. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It looks like there's sort of thunder going on in the background, but a few technical issues. But anyway, doesn't matter. You can see us, you can hear us. That's the main thing. Good evening. Welcome to everybody joining us on the live stream. Thank you once again for your company. The game is about to kick off for 4 or 5 minutes to go. Without further ado, I shall pass you over to, no, he's over there, Gnome on that side, who's going to bring us the teams. Gnome, over to you.
Yeah, evening. Right, well, we line up as follows. As ever in goal on these nights, Areola. Then we have a back four of Sufal, Dawson, Kera and Cresswell. Across the middle, we have Cornet, Lanzini, Rice and Emerson. And then we have Paqueta and Skamaka spearheading the attack. On the bench, much as you might expect, we have Fabianski, Zuma, Fornals, Antonio, Downs, Bowen, Ogbonna, Benrahma, Souček, Coventry and Randolph. Our opponents line up as follows. In goal, Larson, then Sonner, Salkvist, Felix, Engel and Tordarson. Then we have Brink, Klinger, sorry, this one's troubling me all evening. Tengstedt, Kusk and Hellenius. Wouldn't it be great if Klinger turned up in women's clothing? But the referee this evening is Portuguese chap by the name of Fabio Verissimo. And teams are out on the pitch at the moment. And I guess what we've got about 2 minutes or so to kick off.
Keep talking. I haven't finished my links yet. That was way too quick.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, sorry, the Klinger reference is obviously one for the kids then. Probably we're the only four old enough around here to understand that, I suspect. But
I've no idea what you're talking about, by the way.
Klinger? Max Klinger?
No.
No, really?
Anyone? Am I the only one?
Who Max Klinger was?
Yeah, I got it, but
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Nick?
What?
Nick, are you awake?
No, I'm responding to someone who wants to come onto the stream, and I said no, bugger off. Come in. Come in next
Klinger.
time.
Who is Max Klinger? Who was Max Klinger?
The cross-dresser from Mesh.
Is the correct answer, and which is still to this day on every night.
Oh, what station's that? What channel are you?
It's changed its name a million times, but I think it's currently on something called Great TV.
Oh, well, see, there you go. That's this where I'm missing. I'm not watching this. Great. MASH is like what 50 years old now, isn't it? Late 70s.
Yeah. I mean, the actual series from start to finish lasted about 5 times the length of the Korean War that it was set in. I mean, it was almost groundbreaking, I think, comedy. Very well written. Unusually so for the time for American comedies. Less so now, anyway. Should we talk about football?
Well, the only thing I remember about it was the theme tune. I'm sure they probably wouldn't even be able to release it these days, given the current sensibilities. But I don't think I've ever seen the program.
Street Preachers rocked out a bit.
They did, didn't they? Yes.
Yeah.
I am aware of that. Now, if you'd have said the Manic Street Preachers covered the theme tune, I would have got that one.
Composed by Johnny Mandel. There you go.
There you go. Should we talk some football? There's a game going on.
Nah, I'm enjoying this. Anyway, yeah, well, we're about to kick off. West Ham have kicked off, and we have kicked off. So that'll give you some idea of where we are in the relative streams. And we're kicking from right to left as you look up the screen. And we're immediately sort of on the front foot, but we're keeping possession at the moment. And having said that, of course, we lose it, but get it back. So time check, if anyone's interested, is 23, 24, 25, 26 seconds on my stream.
Yeah, I'm about 22 behind you.
Yeah.
I'm a long way behind because my stream's just failed.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm the in the vanguard of this one then.
Yeah.
Should we let's have a look at the lineup? Interesting selection in there tonight. Looks like we might be going 5 at the back. No many immediate observations from what you've seen so far in the opening minute or so. How we're lining up.
Yeah, it's Emerson's. Just having a quick look. So you got because the ball hasn't really gone to our back at the moment. It's very much in the centre of midfield. So we've got Cresswell out there. Emerson's playing ahead of Cresswell. So Emerson's almost playing as a left midfielder, really, I think. But I guess that's going to be fluid depending on possession. But good to see Dawson back. Yeah, not much happening at the moment. We're keeping the ball well. I think we're 1.5 minutes in. I think the Danish side have touched it once in that time. So so good to see Dawson back. As I say, we all have to go. We know his family situation isn't the greatest with having to do that commute, but you know full well despite that he's going to give everything out there. I'll also be interested to see how we cope with the pitch.
Yeah, we'll have a chat about that. I think that's a good theme for discussion later on in the stream. Experiences of watching West Ham at plastic pitches might be a pretty limited stream. But Rio, have you got any particular memories of do it now? We've got any particular memories of plastic pitches from days of yore?
Plenty of really bad ones. Far too many bad ones and good ones. But the good ones will include a 1-0 win at Kennethville Road with Mike Small scoring the winner, and also 1-0 at Loftus Road and Anne Dickens scored.
Remember that one?
Yeah, that was about 2 weeks before the cup game, wasn't it? Or a week before.
I was at that one, and that was the one where I got in the most bizarre argument I've ever had with a member of the Metropolitan Police Force, who they were searching everyone going in. And when I say search, it was empty your pockets. It was a lot more than the perfunctory little pat down you get on the way across the bridge at the Olympic. And I'd had a cold, so I had one of those little Vic inhaler things, which was sort of getting me through the day, and they confiscated it. So not unreasonably, I asked why, and I was just told, "Look, we're confiscating it. You can either keep it and not see the game, or we take it and you get in. Your choice." So I still don't know why, but there you go. There I was, all about to inflict clean sinuses on the population of Loftus Road, and denied. We got a corner.
Yeah.
Taking it in the box. Don't quite know what happened there. Declan Rice won the corner on the left. It was taken diagonally across the box, and I think it was Emerson coming in. I don't know if he tried to shoot or just missed it and deliberately to let it run across, but it was basically cleared, and the Silkeborg are on the attack now. It's the first little spell of possession they've had, but it breaks down fairly easily, and we go again. So, whatever that was a deliberate act by Emerson or just a cock-up, either way, it resulted in us turning attack into defence, as is often the occasion with corners.
Loftus Road, did they have the plastic pitch on that infamous FA Cup game where we all got herded?
Yeah.
Was that, they still had it that year, did they? What was that, 87, was that? 88?
Yeah, 87, February 87, that was. Because the league I'm just mentioned, Alan Dickman scoring a winner, I think it was either a week or 2 weeks before, the same place.
Yeah. Oh no, we're 1-0 down.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yes,
But
just
there,
seen it.
Kuska's opened the scoring for the home side.
Oops, a daisy.
It's just we got to sleep there. It's really the first proper attack they've had. Dawson is doing his nut clapping and geeing people up. Well, I want to see that again. I can't quite work out what happened there.
It was like slow motion, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Slow
It
motion.
came down their left on our right hand side.
Was it Kara's fault again?
Shoes out there. Lanzini didn't get anywhere close enough to the guy out on the left, who pulled it back, and he basically put it to the. I think if Dawson had pushed up another foot, that might have been very close to being offside. The guy down the left, but he didn't. It wasn't. The ball was played in from the left, pulled back, and played first time. And we're 1-0 down. Well, that is a bit of a surprise.
Why is Lanzini jumping away with the ball?
He's 2 or 3 yards away from the bloke, and it's it really is a nonsense bit of play from Lanzini. He's not got anywhere near him. He's not blocked. He's not done anything. He really needed to get out there quicker. We all know Lanzini's defensive properties aren't exactly his forte, but that was very poor from him. So right, well, we're gonna have to go again. That really came out
any
of the
thoughts
blue.
on that goal?
Far too easy. I think Lanzini's our main culprit of fault there. But the amount of space the guy had in the middle, it looks like the rejigging system going to 3 at the back has left a massive gap between themselves and the central midfield. And obviously Lanzini's drifted out, and the guys just come and exploited all the space that you had, which is virtually the Bering Straits or something like that. That's when it. Ignore that. I'm geographically confused in the moment. But yeah, no. So
Just geographically.
yeah, so much space. We're just woefully out of shape.
I'll give him. It's a great finish. I'll give him that. He's took it really, really well.
It's
kind of eye of a needle stuff, isn't it? He sort of threaded it through a tiniest of gaps. You sort of think, a foot or two either side of that, and it's either going wide of the post or Dawson's getting some contact on him. But anyway, we are a goal behind, and the goal scorer, I've got to say, he looks a bit like a young David Moyes, doesn't he?
Didn't notice, to be honest.
Anyone having that? No.
I didn't notice, to be honest. But
if you did see David Moyes when he was young, you wouldn't say he looked like that.
I've seen that Panini sticker, Rio.
Yeah, that old chewing gum card, wasn't it? It wasn't even a Panini sticker. It was that old.
Really?
And it was when he needed his teeth doing, didn't he?
Oh, that's probably the kindest thing you could say, I guess.
No, I think the original one of that, he doesn't look so bad. I think the one where he looks like a bit like Plug Out the Bass Street Kids has been photoshopped somewhat. He didn't look too bad in the original. The original's out there as well. So,
well, the stickers were kind of. I mean, it was obviously well before Photoshop, but the stickers were hilarious because they'd often not get an up-to-date photograph of a player, so they'd kind of paint over his new kit if he'd been transferred. Now, Rice plays the ball out to the right. I mean, since we've let their goal in, we've just maintained possession. Emerson gets a header in, but it's weak, and keeper just goes it quite easily. But again, good build-up play there. The Danes really have barely had a touch since. They barely had a touch before, and they've barely had a touch afterwards. But I said that now they've got a couple of seconds worth of possession. But
West Ham got it all to do
on target.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, header on target. I mean, even though the keeper had time to finish a chapter of his book before picking it up. Yeah.
Anyway, 9 minutes gone. Silkeborg 1, West Ham United 0. The early blow, Kusk scoring after 5 minutes, and with their first and only attack so far, as Noam was rightly pointed out. West Ham got it all to do again, Rio, as we did last week.
Oh, they could have made it 2 just there. Yeah, Rice is doing his nut a little bit there, I think, because I think, let's have a look at this build up again. And yeah, Dawson backed off instead of actually going to close the player down there. And Rice did sort of have a word with him, I think, there. Shot as it was scuffed and it was drawn a couple of yards wide. But, you know, yeah, we could easily be 2-0 down to a team who's had effectively 2 shots. Come West Ham, buck your ideas up. This may be a situation a little bit like last week where the A team comes on at half time if we're not actually doing anything. Good ball out the right to Sufal, though. Gets a cross in. Oh, and now we've got a penalty. Yeah, I did wonder. It did look like it. Cornet was basically running in on the ball to get on the end of Sufal's cross, and it looked like he'd been impeded, and he fell forward. But it was one of those ones that you think, well, that was a penalty, but they often don't get given. Let's have a look again now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's just shoved him in the back. It's just gone like that. Penalty at West Ham, and hopefully normal service can be resumed very shortly. Lanzini's on spot kick duty this time. Bones on the bench, of course, after that good penalty last time. Lanzini has taken penalties before. I think he's generally been all right. So,
there's the kiss of death.
Yeah, but let's see. Referee just making sure players are outside the box, and
yeah, we did kind of go down a bit easy, but
if you look, there was a shove. Yeah, you push someone in the back, that's a penalty. Yeah,
yeah.
Lanzini and buries it. 1-1. So now we breathe a sigh of relief, and now we can start playing again. It has to be said that we've knocked it about quite nicely, and the sort of 1-0 was a slightly unrealistic air to it, but keeper went the right way and almost got a hand to it, but Lanzini put enough on it, and yeah, keeper will probably be going, damn, yeah, look on his face, nearly, mate, but not quite. Lanzini lifted it just enough to sort of clear his hands. So yeah, there we go, 1-1. Okay, now we go again.
He actually got quite a bit behind that. I think it was just the power of the spot kick that.
And it was a little bit above him, wasn't it? It was the top end of his hands rather than trying to get anything behind it. If you're below it a little bit, it's difficult to push out, if you like. So.
Rio, any complaints about the penalty decision for you?
Oh, not at all. It's a clear, absolute blatant shove, and I don't know what he's expecting to get away with it, because it's just shocking defending really at this level.
I'm not entirely sure whether or not Cornet would have actually got on the end of it, though. That's the ironic thing. I mean, it was a stupid thing to do, but you could clearly see his arm go into his back, and of course, these days, a player feels something in his back. He's not going to be shy in letting the referee know about it. And it was very obvious. I mean, it wasn't subtle. But hey, you're that daft. That's what's happened now. Nice. I've got to say,
it was nice to see the ball go in the back of the net there, because I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Lanzini ended up in his arse from the penalty. He slipped as he took it. And we've seen 1 or 2 of those missed in sort of catastrophic circumstances before, haven't we? Yeah. Keeper, of course, went the right way as well. So had to be a decent strike. But anyway, 1-1. Going on again.
Yeah, I understand.
Where are you, though?
Sorry.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. I haven't gone anywhere.
You went blank. You disappeared off the screen.
Oh, did I do that? No, now, maybe you, Graham, with your... and I used the word sort of kind of ironically, grassroots experience, will know more about these pitches than I. I believe it might be a 4G pitch. Now, is that the one where they have the little rubber pellets?
Yeah.
And stuff and all that? Because I've last year I did a fair bit. I played a bit of six-a-side over at Bromley near me, who play in the National League. Their pitches 4G. So I mean, it's not bad, and I can understand why clubs do it, have them, but it still didn't feel right to me, I must admit.
The bonus with 4G is that the crowd always give a good reception.
Very good.
Hey,
Enough
bravo, sir. Bravo.
techie nerd jokes we're coming in.
See, we got that one, no? We got that one. See? A joke from this century, you know?
Well, yeah. The Danes just got into our box. We snuffled it out. They've snuffled the attack out, but when the ball's played into the box, we seem to be giving them a lot of room in the box. The Danish, what's his name there? Tengstedt got a lot of room, but he tried to take it past Dawson. Dawson got a foot in, and we were able to clear. But I'd like to see us a little bit tighter on these players. We're giving them time to turn in there. On those occasions they get it, but anyway, Emerson on the left plays inside, just doesn't quite fall there for Skamaka, and Danes will try and play it away now. But
in full screen, right, with this thing that's around no, it kind of reminds me of Slimer out of Ghostbusters.
Right, sort of try to remember Ghostbusters. Yeah, sorry, that was
slightly more modern,
wasn't it, as well?
The MASH, I think, by about 10 years, but
yeah,
it ties in with the older experience at Loftus Road having the cold.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Everything's got a link on here.
Yeah.
There are of course a number of
you say hello to our regulars on the street.
Please, Nick, go on, you do it. I've been trying to,
and not the regulars,
but please
we have
do.
a few new faces.
Yeah. So,
good evening to Richard, Tony's regular Steve Palmer. Got Tony Penfold. He's decided to join us. Geordie Hammer.
hello.
He must be bored tonight. Metal in both legs. Good evening. Dan B as usual. Homo Changa. Addy Starr. Gore Edwards. Penfold again. David O'Rourke as usual. Andy Welsh. AGXM. One of the regulars. Dan Spencer. Who is, I think he said he's happy Hammer. Yes, it is. Happy 50th birthday, mate.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, and top level dad joke from Steve Palmer for my 4G one. So, yeah, we all love a dad joke. So, welcome, and I hope you're enjoying the show as per usual. I went to Cuenca Hammer because he's normally watching, isn't he? And he never gets a little shout out from us, but because he doesn't know how to set up a YouTube account to type in the comments. So we'll say hello to him anyway, because he's a regular, but he just doesn't talk.
Yeah, he's been a regular as long as most of us, actually, I think, over the years. But anyway, there's also a lot of other games going on tonight. No, gents, please jump in if something happens in our main game. But just to have a quick look at the other matches that have been played today. Slavia Prague, who are, we understand, third favourites to win the Conference League at the moment, squeezed through against Balkani 3-2. Ponic beat Slovan Bratislava 2-0. Zalgiris beaten by Basel 1-0. Djurgården, home of legendary ex-mod Lost Hammer, won again, beat Molde 3-2. Molde Norwegian, aren't they? So that would have been a relatively local derby, that one. Sweden v Norway. Gent smashing Shamrock Rovers 3-0. AZ Alkmaar, who also tipped to go well in the competition, beaten FC Vaduz 4-1. And Cluj beaten at home by Sivasspor 1-0. And finally, earlier today, Apollon beaten 3-1 by Dnipro at home. Other games taking place tonight: Istanbul, Fiorentina. Of course, the other game in this group, FCSB, their first home game of the competition against Anderlecht, who, of course, got off to a flying start, beating Silkeborg 1-0 last week. There are a couple of goals actually gone in. Nice 1-0 up at Partizan. Cole beating Slovako 1-0 currently. And no goals in any of the other ties. There's 8 ties taking place at 8 o'clock, but That's where we are as we stand. And here it's Silkeborg 1, West Ham United 0. Silkeborg taking the league after 5 minutes. West Ham equalising for the penalty spot in the 13th minute. There was also a yellow card we didn't mention. Salquist, who was responsible for the shove on Cornet, went into the book. He was the first person in the referee's notepad this evening. So there we are, 19 minutes gone.
Yeah, Silkeborg on attack at the moment. Trying to force... No, I'm not quite sure what happened there. I was going to say try to gain a bit of room for a shot, and Kusk it was again, had the shot. Now, it looks like it took a direction. Deflection. Played in there too. So see better from behind here. Yeah, came off, Dawson stood firm, came off his shoulder, but if that had crept in, I don't think Areola was getting it. Corner's taken. And we've won the ball in the box, and it's now cleared out and back to halfway line, and Silkeborg can give it another go. It's a bit of an odd game, really. There's not an awful lot's happened, but it's 1-1. Yeah, good little spell of possession for Silkeborg, but we're keeping penning them back, and they thought about going back to the goalkeeper, but we're penning them in, and it's they've just managed to get themselves out of a corner there, and they can bring it forward now.
Nick, what's your thoughts on Lanzini playing in that slightly more defensive role? Think he works there?
No, I don't think he does at all. I've always had a lot of time for little Manu, but I don't think he worked in this team full stop, to be honest.
We've got a yellow card here. Sorry to interrupt, but Cornet went on a run, and our friend Klinger didn't look much in that. Yeah, a little bit of a shove as Cornet tried to get away. A foul, yes. A yellow.
No, that's not a yellow for me either.
Yeah. It's a foul. You can see his arm going to his side there, but it's really wasn't a yellow, was it? I mean, yeah. Where are we if we're giving yellows for that? But this ref does like to dish out the cards. I think he's averaging about 6 yellows a game or something. Nearly 7 yellows a game, I think, when we looked it up earlier on.
Rio, we've always bemoaned the fact that there's this sort of perceived bias from referees in favour of bigger clubs. Is that working in our favour in this competition, do you think?
Certainly not at the moment, if you ask me. I just think the standard of refereeing we've seen in European competition from last year and the previous couple of games hasn't been great. It's actually making Premier League referees look semi-competent, which is a shocking sign, really. So, I can't see any benefit that we've actually gained from all this. My biggest worry at the moment is that this system, we've tried it on a few occasions now. We've kind of tried to revert to it in pre-seasons, a new idea, and it just doesn't look like it's working.
Yeah,
I'm actually really surprised that Flynn Downs has been left out, because I thought alongside Declan Rice, he's got the more defensive discipline. Needs a bit more game time, obviously, but he acquitted himself very well last week.
Yeah.
Absolutely set up for this game, but no, he's not even. He's on the bench only, isn't
he?
Yeah, strange one.
He is on the bench. He is on the bench. Sorry. Maybe again with one eye on Sunday, of course, because I thought he played very, very well against FCSB last week. He was kind of the highlight for me. I don't know quite what's happening. Every now and then I seem to disappear looking at the screen there, and I'm not moving.
I think that's what Nick was referring to with it.
I'm back now, but seriously, I'm not. It's not as if I'm moving around and coming out of shot or anything. I'm just sitting there.
I think you need to push your sofa to the side of the room for the rest of the game and just get a kitchen chair or something and sit there. That might be the answer.
No, this is comfy.
That's just an idea. I'm watching you actually fade in and out. I'm totally with Nick's reference now to the Ghostbusters thing. I see exactly what he's referring to. But, yeah. It's
Yeah, you didn't know at the time, and it kind of was like
If I move
tumbleweed.
forward, how about if I move forward a bit?
There you go. There you
There.
go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, what a goal! Oh, it's been. Yeah, that's a good goal. Skamaka's off the mark in this game. Just want to move forward to see it now. Cracking finish. Powered it past. We'll just see it again. Just sort of, we'd had a cross just cut out a couple of seconds previously. Now the Danes, loose ball from the Danes, played in beautifully by Cornet. First time Skamaka takes it on the turn. Wallop 2-1. Yeah, keeper's got no chance with that one. It's pick that one out, as they say.
Skamaka on the score sheet again. He seems to be enjoying this Conference League malarkey a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think for where he is now in terms of the Premier League, he's got to acclimatise to. But games like this are right up his street already, I think. I mean, we can forgive him last week because clearly the guy hadn't played for 2 weeks and was still a little bit under the weather, and it showed. But when he's fit and available, then Cornet's in here. Oh, fluffs the shot, but offside anyway. After all that, the boarding linesman has his flag up. But again, it's so look. I don't think he was. I think the guy on the left, the Danish left, is probably playing him onside. And had that gone to VAR, had we scored it, of course, that might have been interesting. But there's no VAR. You can see why it was given because he was clearly goal side of his nearest man, and Lino's flag went up pretty quickly. So the fact that he missed it was kind of irrelevant.
Richard Van says, superb strike, class, 80 star. That was some hit. Steve Palmer, Skamaka looks like the proper stuff, I think. David O'Rourke just commenting, bullet. Third goal for Skamaka in a West Ham shirt, scored his first against Viborg on the 18th of August. Followed that up with another one in the return leg. And he's scored 2 goals in Denmark now, interestingly. None in the Premier League yet. But, of course, his time will come, no doubt. And it's good to see him on the score sheet so far. Rio, how about that for a strike, eh?
Fantastic. And this is what we've been told about him from his spell in Italy. He will shoot at will and from anywhere. And it's something we've been lacking. I can see David Moyes getting slightly frustrated if he tries too often, too much. But it's what we've lacked. We've lacked that person who can hold the ball up, swivel and shoot from range. And it's an absolutely fantastic strike.
Yeah, certainly is. Took it brilliantly. And West Ham, after that early scare, are now ahead. And we're only just halfway through the first half.
No, another good move there, but Lanzini just went a tad too early. The flag went up straight away. Let's have a look again. Well, no, he isn't. He's onside by about a yard. He's a yard outside of the last man. So quite why the flag went up there, I don't rightly know. Unless maybe he was offside earlier on in the build-up. I couldn't see it, but that was a stinker from the lino there, I'm afraid. A little bit like Defoe up at Anfield, where he had that goal disallowed with an offside flag, and there were about 4 players playing him on. Now the Danes work the ball in the box, and again, our friend Kusk is the man who's on the end of it in the middle, but gets his angles completely wrong and puts his shot about 10 yards wide. But again, a promising little move there. I mean, he's hit it first time and he's leaning back and not got any sort of angle at all on it. So went out for a throw-in, in fact. Let's give you some sort of idea of how wayward that was.
Match stats so far. West Ham 48%, 52% possession, 48% to Silkeborg. Both teams 3 shots each. West Ham 3 on target, every shot on target so far. Silkeborg only 1 on target. That, of course, was the goal. And 1 corner each. So pretty even stuff so far.
Cornet's just gone down and sort of clutching his thigh. And quite rightly so, because I don't think it was quite deliberate, but it's just been stamped on the thigh. Referee waved play on, but the game stopped for the just to make sure Cornet was okay. But yeah, nasty one.
Yeah.
Silkeborg play a low cross into the box, but Areola, superb goalkeeping, gets his angle completely right and smothers it as a forward comes in. So this is the sort of good. This is excellent goalkeeping because it's quite easy to be distracted by somebody running across you like that, and he's got his angles. It's not spectacular in any way, but now they're on the attack again. But that's well played by Cresswell, who actually forces it out for a goal. That's a goal kick. Cresswell's as bemused as I am. Let's have a look here. Yeah, the Danish guy's got a little touch on that, and even the Danish supporters were looking at each other behind the goal, going, "Oops, yeah." So slightly undeserved corner for Silkeborg here on their right. Stay with me as it goes in. Played in, swing out. Oh, now they've had that in, but that's quite right. Areola's been sort of basically fouled in the middle of that, blocked off as he's tried to come and get it. It's been headed in, but it's no goal. Yeah, that's as blatant a foul as you're ever going to see. I know they always say goalkeepers are overprotected, but just have a look at this again now. He's come out and the guy's he's just backed into him. And he knows what he's doing. The second it happened, I said foul sort of thing. I've been very disappointed that that been allowed. Danes disagree with me, but yeah, he's deliberately blocked him off. And yeah, so anyway, not much more happening. The Danes moaned a bit, but
you know what? They weren't. You know, I'm going to have to disagree. I think that he's made a meal of that. He barely touched him, and it's not the sort of thing that I like to see. We were ripping strips off of Mendy the other week, and our goalies had done something not too dissimilar. The angle from behind the goal, you can see it.
He's made a meal of the foul. I'll grant you that, but there is a foul there because he has been deliberately blocked off. Unlike Mendy, who basically was on the floor, felt a little brush, and then decided that he needed. Yeah, he's made a meal of it, but he's made a meal of what was a foul. Unlike the Mendy one, was he made a meal of something that palpably wasn't.
Yeah, but no, I don't really think it was a foul. If it stayed on, you know, he's run into the back of him and then fallen over. Is how I've seen
the guy has a very sneaky, quick look and turns into him. Yeah.
Rio, thoughts on that?
I'm veering towards Nick, to be honest, because it just looks like Areola's actually run at the guy who actually couldn't be more Danish if he tried.
Yeah.
That look with the long hair and the headband is just like.
I was going to say that earlier on, yeah.
Stereotypically Danish. Yeah, he's Areola's made a meal out of it, to be honest. But I'm not going to argue because, again, we looked a bit more at the sea when that cross came in.
I'm totally with you and Nick on that. To me, that's never a foul in a million years. The guy stood his ground. He's made no attempt to move towards the goalie. He's just stood his ground. Areola's bumped into him and come off second best. Never a foul for me. But anyway, it's slightly fortuitous. I just wonder if VAR had been in effect, how it would have been viewed there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's been ruled out.
It wouldn't have actually come into play because I think the whistle went the second there was the contact. And of course, after that, VAR can't do anything.
Of course, because the game stopped, didn't it? So
yeah, because you turn around and say, well, I might have made an effort to get it off the line or so, so VAR wouldn't. I think I haven't got the sound turned up that highly, but I think that basically the whistle went pretty much immediately. You look at the referee, I think his arm went up quite quickly.
Let us know what you think on the live stream. Did you think it was a foul? Do you think West Ham was slightly fortuitous to escape with that one? Doesn't matter. It's not been given anyway. And West Ham remain 2-1 ahead, 34 minutes gone.
Yeah, we're in a bit of a lull at the moment. We're conceding possession a bit and just having a little bit of a breather, really. But a couple of times when you see the passing going, and just a couple of times it's been just an inch out here or there. But you think, if we can get that going again. Now, I'm not quite sure. Danish guy's just gone down in the box. He's not claiming a foul, I hasten to add. But it looked like he was trying to head a ball that was on the ground. No foul, and I say I'm not insinuating he was trying to claim one, but it just, as he went down, the ball's along the ground. Clearly he's obviously tripped or something, but it did look like he was trying to head it on the floor. Sort of thing you might have done as a kid when you got the ball to the goal line and you've beaten the goalkeeper, stop the ball on the goal line, and then go down on your knees and head it in, which then 5 seconds later then gets you a kicking from your opponent for being a smart ass.
Richard Van thinks Dawson is struggling tonight. Says he's not looking sharp and getting mugged a bit by their sharp play up front. Needs someone more switched on there. Anyone agreeing with that point of view?
Yeah, absolutely.
I disagree.
Seems a bit off the pace, and he's not tight. He's not been tight, but he's only had 10 seconds worth of football, hasn't he, in this season? So perhaps understandably a bit rusty.
Again, not helped by the fact that we've got a back three, very disjointed, look like they never played together, which, let's be honest, they barely have. Yeah, we look all at C shape-wise, and it's not cohesive. For something we worked on quite a lot in pre-season, which admittedly...
This is splendid football, mind. Oh, what a goal that would have been. The build-up play there was scintillating. Emerson found himself, excuse me, on the edge of the box. I mean, it's beautiful play, lovely one-touch football. Emerson ends up with the ball, gets it out of his feet, gets the shot in, keeper tips it around for a corner. But that's good football. We saw bits of that last week, particularly in the second half. And that's what I want to see, that sort of thing. Corner to West Ham, anyway.
Seems to be the consensus on the forums as well. That,
and we're 3-1 up.
Yeah, Areola weren't a foul on him. And he's not down for Liverpool.
Academic, it's now 3-1 to West Ham.
Oh, happy days.
Yeah. And it's our mate who's really off the pace and not playing at all well today, Dawson. The corner resulting from that move that resulted in Emerson's shot came across. Dawson just comes running in from the deep, unchallenged, and really just runs on the ball. As ever with Dawson, I don't think he quite hits it quite clean. Let's see what it comes off. Yeah, maybe a combination of head and shoulder there, as is often the case, but it's in the back of the net. And 3-1. Or 1-3 if you want to be pedantic.
In the lead up to that, it's some really good work, Nick, by Emerson. Two or three really good touches. Nice interplay with Manny Lanzini there, anyway, to create the chance before the.
I never see that because I was reading the comments on the forum.
I've just seen it, and it was wonderful play by Emerson.
Yeah,
as you say, very nice interlinking with Lanzini. Gets the shot away, forces the corner. But yeah, I've been quite impressed with him so far, Emerson. I know that a few people have been critical, but he gets forward so well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, got forward to put that loose ball away last week, didn't he? So
yeah.
The only thing I'd say, I mean, the shot was kind of almost like his last resort. You know, instead of sort of looking, where can I get this shot away? I think he was looking up to try and, having received and laid it off, I think he was looking to try and lay it off again, and seeing himself in the middle and really with the shot on, I think he said, well, I may as well have a go here. I'd like to see him look at that as the first option sometimes, perhaps, because he's a decent player.
The Dawson goal seems to have come off his shoulder. If I'm right.
It often does with Dawson, doesn't it?
Done that
You
once or
find
twice at the
sometimes when he
park.
gets a full proper header on it, it'll go 3 yards wide or something like that.
Yeah, AD pointing out it's a set piece goal finally. Not quite as prolific from dead balls as we were perhaps last season. AD, you're absolutely right. But yeah, there you go. Of course, Craig Dawson was almost out the door a couple of weeks ago, and there he's scoring in Europe again. I mean, you know, Nick, this could be a bit of a goal fest now, couldn't it? I mean, 3 goals in the first half. You know, it started a little bit dodgily, but you know, how many can we score tonight? It's we seem to be scoring at will at the moment.
Another couple would be nice, wouldn't it? Does the goal difference well. It's the most important thing. 3 points and good goal difference. That would be great.
Now, Paqueta fell awkwardly a few minutes ago. Dane's a little bit cheesed off because play went on for a good 30 seconds or so. And eventually the referee decided that to see Paqueta down in a heap. Let's have a look. Yeah, not a foul as such. What he's done is he's gone to kick the ball. The Danish player's got his foot in, just got into it. And actually Paqueta's actually stood on his foot, but he's gone down and stayed down. Yeah, slightly sore one perhaps, but Danes are a little bit cheesed off because they had the ball up the other end. And whilst it wasn't a promising looking attack, the referee decided it looked serious enough for him to stop the game. So I think
he twisted his ankle a bit there.
Yeah. As he came down, I think as he came down, instead of actually landing on the, and I say grass, but you know what I mean, he landed on the player's foot, which obviously twisted as he landed. So accidental thing, no sort of thing, but one of those ones that's quite sore for a minute or two until you get a spray on. So drop ball anyway, and it's with the Danes. Because this modern drop ball thing, they just drop it at the player's feet rather than drop it and expect somebody to kick it back. So
talking about Paqueta, someone did mention a few minutes ago, it's probably about 15 minutes ago now, but saying he's barely been involved at all, which is interesting because he's playing in that probably one of his favoured positions behind the front two. But Rio, we've not seen a lot of him, have we, so far?
No, not at all. No. Again, I'm harking back to it. I don't think this system suits him. I'm actually surprised he started as well, and I'm really glad to see us taking this competition very seriously, putting a strong side out. But I'm actually surprised to see Paqueta starting. There's a couple there. I thought, give the likes of Downs another go. We run the risk of losing a record signing and the most creative and flairful player to a dodgy injury that, as we just seen, gone down now. I'm surprised he's been risked tonight. Whether it's just to integrate him with the rest of the squad, possibly, but you want to get this one about 3 or 4 1 at part time, make a few changes, rest some of the key players that we've utilised tonight.
Yeah, good point. Good point. The good news is that Paqueta seems to be all right anyway. That's the main thing. But not been involved
interesting
much.
point you raised there, Rio, about taking the competition seriously. And there were games last year in the Europa League where this time of season you wouldn't have said that the team put out. It might have been strong, but you wouldn't have perhaps said it would have been the first team. A lot of that's a function of the fact that we now have a lot more depth.
Yeah.
In the squad, so whatever we put out is likely to look fairly strong, because your bench will also be fairly strong. I mean, if we had this sort of first team out last season, that bench would have been 1 or 2 first team players and a hell of a lot of youngsters. And you look at it now, and it's all proper first team squad players out there. I think Coventry's about the youngest one in there. So that's an indication of the fact we've got a stronger squad these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Rio, go on.
Yeah, no, so you're absolutely right there. Yeah, we've got the more strength in depth. We can utilise these players. I was just surprised to see Paqueta play. I thought he might have gone with Lanzini, a more forward role and Downs. And if Rice had to play, be the fulcrum, him and Downs at the back. But no, it's good to see. I mean, even you.
Paqueta's just had a header. He's in the box, but he's sort of towards the edge of the box, and he's headed wide from a a deep diagonal cross from Sufal. It's one of those ones that it's really difficult to, yeah, you could probably just about get it goal bound, but if you do that, it's not going to trouble the keeper. And as it happened, he didn't get the angle and it went wide. But he was pleasingly unencumbered by anybody doing so much of the marking job on him in there, which is, from our point of view, quite nice to see.
Was that actually a shot, or was he trying to flick it over to whoever was over on our left?
Oh, yeah, it was an attempted goal. It was one of those ones where it comes across, you get something of it on it, and if it goes towards goal, you look all right. If it doesn't, well, you've at least tried to get something on it. It was never really going to be able to guide or do much with it. But full marks for getting on it. And as I say, as Dawson plays the ball aimlessly at the touch, followed immediately by a hand of apology to Emerson. That was rubbish. But yeah. But as I say, the good thing for me was that the Danes didn't have him marked at all there, really. So now it's a good move. Paqueta covering Dane gets across. But it was a nice move, nice ball down the left, and gave Paqueta an awful lot to do. And as I say, the covering Dane managed to cut it out. But again, some nice one-touch football to build up to that pass.
Has anyone seen how many minutes we've got added on at the end of the
one?
half?
And that's one, and that's it. It's just finished. So we're at half time.
Okay, good stuff. There it is. West Ham going into the break 3-1 to the good. Although it wasn't the greatest start from the Hammers, found themselves a goal down after 5 minutes. Kusk passing the ball into the net from about 15 yards out, following a break on the left-hand side. West Ham weren't behind for long, though. Penalty awarded with it was a foul against Cornet, wasn't it? Lanzini stepping up, falling over as he took the penalty, mind, but got enough on it to put the ball into the left-hand side of the net. Goalkeeper guessing the right way, might have even got a finger to it, but the penalty was good, and West Ham were level after 13 minutes. Took the lead. 12 minutes later, it was Scamacca with an absolute thunderbolt of a strike. I think it was Cornet again was involved. One possession, interception about 35 yards from goal, played the ball into Scamacca on the edge of the box, who turned sharply, and vicious strike with the outside of his right foot. I think curling away from the goalkeeper and into the top of the net to put West Ham ahead. And then that lead was doubled 7 minutes before the break when Craig Dawson, of course, player who probably wouldn't have been here if he'd got things his own way and transferred deadline day, rising for a header, ghosting in unmarked. In fact, criminal defending from the home side, and the ball coming off Dawson's shoulder. Not for the first time in his West Ham career, but it was enough to put West Ham 3-1 up at the break. Before we have a quick look back at the best bits of the first half with the team here, we'll have a quick look at the scores elsewhere. We'll start with the Conference League. 8 games going on this evening. There are currently 2 goalless, including the games between FCSB and Anderlecht, the other game in this group. But Partizan 1-0 down at home to Nice. Köln have just doubled their advantage to lead Slovaco 2-0 at half-time. Villarreal, favourites for the tournament, of course, 1-0 up at Beersheva in Israel. Lech Poznan and Vienna is now 1-1 at half-time. And Hearts of Scotland, Heart of Midlothian, have taken the lead away to RFS and lead 1-0 at the break. There are some other ties going on in the Europa League tonight. A few results from there, actually. Real Sociedad beat Ammonia 2-1. Olympiacos heavily beaten 3-0 at home by Freiburg. Feyenoord smashing Sturm Graz 6-0. The Austrians getting hammered there by Feyenoord. Man United winning 2-0 away to Sheriff. Karabag beating Nantes 3-0. Monaco beaten at home by Ferencváros 1-0. Midtjylland, another Danish side, having a good result. And really, shock result, you'd have to say. Look at that. Lazio beaten 5-1 in Denmark tonight. Real surprise result. And over in Turkey, Trabzonspor beating Savannah. That team without the not enough L's in the name, beaten 2-1 by the Turks. Some live games over there. Goalless between Rennes and Fenerbahce, Bodo and Zurich, Roma and HJK. Larnaca surprisingly ahead in Kiev, beating not in Kiev, but beating Kiev 1-0. away Union Berlin and Braga goalless. Betis, Manuel Pellegrini's current team are absolutely flying in the league, 100% record at the moment in Spain, 2-1 up against Ludogorets. And in the final game in the Europa League tonight, Union Saint-Gilloise won Malmo. One, of course, a former European Cup finalist, 1979, I think it was, when they played and were beaten by Nottingham Forest. Trevor Francis scoring the only goal of the game that day. Anyway, back to Jisk Park. West Ham 3-1 up. Rio, thoughts on the first half? A quick summary for us.
I just think it's kind of a reflection of stand the opposition we get in the group stages of this in this competition at the moment. Very disjointed performance by us, not fluid at all, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of confusion at times. We've got two players making returns from injury, and yet we're 3-1 up and looking reasonably comfortable despite not within 30% of our best, if you ask me. But looks like it's going to be early doors, get the job done, get other players on, give them experience, protect what we have out there, and move on.
Yep. Looks like it's a case of job done, doesn't it, really? Noam, already. Did you expect to see some changes at half-time? Maybe a couple of squad players, Coventry, someone downs like that maybe coming in?
Maybe. As I say, we these days it very much is a big squad game, and I kind of wish we'd had this squad last year for the Europa League, really. But I don't know, because we've got Sunday to look at. I got the impression last week that obviously we really needed to start with a victory, and half time wasn't looking great last week, even though we'd had more of the ball. We were struggling to break them down. And you got the impression that when Antonio and Bowen, who came on half time, Antonio, Bowen, and might have been Paqueta came on. Those three came at half time. I try to remember last week, but you got the impression that had we been 1-0 up, 2-0 up, those changes wouldn't have been made, and it was like, okay, you're only going on for a half, but we need the win. Go get it. We're not in that situation this week, so he may return to his usual 66 minutes. See where we are and maybe make a couple of changes. As I say, one eye on Sunday, bit of a trip up there, and it's always difficult as well. Your next game straight after a European away tie. Traditionally, teams of whatever standard always struggle a little bit after European ties. So maybe keep those fresh.
Good stuff. We said, Brio, didn't we, sort of midway through the half, that tactically we looked a little bit all at sea. It wasn't really working. Can we say that we've kind of adjusted and adapted to the system David Moyes has employed tonight, or is it more a case that we're just showing out a technical superiority over a much weaker Silkeborg side?
I think it's definitely the latter. As I was trying to say during the first half, we tried to implement this system in pre-season. Results and performances weren't great then. We tried to implement it and play it in a couple of games this season. Didn't work in the first half at Villa, and now we just look like we're just not used to it, and we look like all at sea and completely lost at times. There's far too big a gap between midfield and defence. The defensive three look far too far apart. Yeah, we're just like professional footballers. We look like we can't adapt to a different system, which is a bit worrying. But saying that, I just think it's a difference in class between the Premier League and the Danish league, and it's a different universe almost. We're playing in third gear, or not even third gear, probably in first gear, and we're getting away with this. We're romping it.
Nick, Lucas Paqueta, we saw him get involved a little bit more towards the end of the half, but struggled a bit to get in the game prior to that. Is Is it just a case of he's got to get used to his teammates, or is there something else amiss? Is he perhaps not playing in the right position? How do you see that?
And I use a pinky word, and I'm going to be the first to call it, right? He's going to be a dud, I reckon.
Dun dun dun.
I don't know. He's just got that vibe about him. He looks completely out of place in our team. I could be wrong, but he's got the vibe for me, I think.
Right.
I liked his little bit of when he came on briefly in that game he was covering. Can't remember. They've come thick and fast this season, didn't they? Where he got booked when he upended that player, and that made me laugh.
Was that
that's
last
so
week?
far my overriding memory of him at the moment. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. We've signed a lot of players this summer, haven't we? So you're not going to expect them all to work out. That's the thing. You always do get one or two that are maybe not quite who you think they are. And I don't know. He looks a bit lost to me. Maybe it is the lack of game time. Maybe it is he needs to get used to his teammates. But I think he's going to be the dud of the summer.
I also think it could be the sheer number of players we brought in. There's been a huge change in the dynamics of our squad. Normally, you bring in 2 or 3 players during a window, and that's it. We put them, is it 8, 9? That's a huge change.
Yeah. Nick, I was asking Noam actually just before you disappeared for a breather whether or not he expects to see many changes at the start of the second half. How do you see that? We obviously saw it last week when we were in need of a goal, but it's the opposite situation now. We're looking pretty comfortable. Do you think Moyes is going to rest 1 or 2, or do you think he'll just stick with it for the time being?
I think he'll maybe make a couple of changes, and then I think he'll use all 5 subs. He'll make a couple of changes at half time, and then bring on players as and when the game develops. I think in the second half, give a few people a little run out, warm their muscles up. We're not in danger of losing it. I can only see one winner in this. So, yeah, a couple of subs, I reckon.
Okay, good stuff. No, I want to take you back to a moment that happened just after the half-hour mark. We were leading 2-1. Our hosts had a corner, put the ball in the net, it was disallowed. You had a chance to have another look at that, and because I mean, you were kind of ploughing a lone furrow amongst the team here, in that you felt that the referee made the right decision.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Areola made a complete and utter meal of it, and I'm with Nick that I kind of don't like to see that. But I thought the guy turned slightly into him, and I can see why people would disagree. But
would you have given it if you were the referee?
Sorry?
Would you have given it if you were the referee? Would you have flagged it off?
I'd have probably given the goal, I'll be honest. Okay. But I've got what I would say is that it's a little bit wrong to say that the goal was disallowed, because the whistle went before the ball got anywhere near the goal. It was a header sort of. Yeah, the whistle went, then the header went towards goal. So the foul was given. It wasn't like the ball went in and then he went back and then afterwards, as the ball went in, blew up for it. So had we had VAR, that wouldn't have been an issue, because VAR can't go back and award a goal that's taken place after the whistle's gone. It's just, you can see why that's the situation as well. In other situations, you'll see where people have stopped, and you think, well, once the whistle's gone, that's kind of it. So soft. But sorry, we've had so much go against us. I give up on them, really, to be honest. We bought one there. I refer to. I then look at last week, where a couple of times where FCSB players who were injured and had treatment were allowed to remain on the pitch without having to go over, despite there being no yellow card for the foul. It happened a couple of times. I think, am I missing something here? So,
Okay.
it's. I mean, the thing I'd say is that, and Rio pointed out that some refereeing we had in Europe and all that, it was very variable. And yeah, you're quite right. But what you don't get in Europe quite so much is a sort of an institutionalized defense of that. If a referee's had a bad game, then UEFA will have a look and probably not pick him for a while. Whereas
bad refereeing, yeah, I buy that. Do you know what I mean? The thing I'm most disappointed with is that our goalkeeper was basically cheated.
Yeah, definitely made he's made a complete and utter meal of it, whether it was a foul or not. And I don't, I like you, I don't like seeing that. But I've seen it a few times. It's a bit softer than I thought originally, I will say. You can see why he was giving it.
Yeah.
But had he not blown the whistle and had it gone in, I don't think we could have had too many complaints. To put it that way. So,
right, good stuff. Rio, there was, of course, another penalty decision which also went our way. In the 11th minute, Salquist was booked for a push on Cornet. Any complaints about that one? Do you think that one was a little bit generous, or did you think the referee called that one correctly?
I got that spot on. That's the most blatant push I've seen in a long while.
Yeah.
And I'm just more shocked that the guy actually tried to defend himself by putting his arms out as if to say, what did I do? It's just, it's the most blatant one you're going to watch probably all year, that one.
And the funny thing was, it was a really stupid thing to do, wasn't it? I mean, you're not going to get away with that in those situations. It's not like you're in a melee or a crowd of bodies, He's there with Cornet, and he's clearly. I don't think any of us disagree, do we? Are we all in agreement with Rio on that one?
Yeah, agreeance that it was a penalty, but again, I didn't really like the way Cornet again made a meal of it. I just don't like seeing that from any player on, whether he played for West Ham or whether he plays for anyone else. He didn't need to go down like that. It was a shove. It was a penalty. If he stayed on his feet, it would still probably been given with this ref. Do you know what I mean? And I just don't like it. But I suppose maybe it is something. I know it's sacrilege to say. Maybe it's something we have got to get used to. Maybe we can't keep holding this moral high ground when everyone else is doing it and benefiting from it. If the dark arts like that are having to sneak into the games, and if we lose games through that types of decisions like that, I can begrudgingly understand why we're trying to win games like it. Because if everyone else is doing it, we're putting ourselves at a disadvantage by not. And I hate myself for saying it.
Just chip in. We're underway in the second half. Only one substitution to talk of, and it's for the home side, where Clinton has replaced Engel. But we're underway again. A few seconds in, nothing much happening. So just
what's that record away win in European competitions? It is 3-1, isn't it? Because that was against the Lyon game.
3-0 was Lyon, wasn't it?
Okay.
We beat Metz 3-1, didn't we, all those years ago? Well, not that many years ago. No, going back 70s, 60s. Can you remember what about when we win? Did we put 4 past? Who was it we played in the second round in 76? The Swiss side. Was it Swiss side? Began with an L. Can't remember now.
No, we played a Finnish side, Ripus Lahti, in. Was that the second round? Try to think away wins. Rio's our old stat man. I'll let Rio do the research on that. But the Finnish side we played was 76 was a Finnish side because the Brooking family, of course, is Mrs. Brooking is Finnish, so they took up all the complimentaries, I think, for that one.
While I try and check this, can I just ask a question as an aside? The guy who came on at half time for Silkeborg, was that Clinton?
Clinton, yeah.
Yeah, it's his
Neither
first
one
name
thing or
Tommy.
the other, is it?
Is his name what? Tom?
I was hoping you wouldn't notice. I was being professional there for once.
Well, it's a lot cleaner than I was thinking of anyway. My pure old side was coming to the fore, unfortunately. But yeah.
I think you're thinking of, you took his Swiss sides. We played Lausanne in the 65 run, I think it was.
Yeah.
So
no, Rio did mention that a minute ago. I was kind of thinking of both. It was Lausanne was the name I was thinking of, but I was kind of thinking of the fit of Larty in '76. So kind of got a little bit mixed up. But either way, I think one more tonight, Nick, and that would be our biggest win.
I'm looking on Wiki now at our away scores, and 3-0, a margin by 3, is the biggest win that we've had away. So we actually have done it, equalled our record twice in two, or created the record twice in 2 seasons.
Right.
3-0 against Leon, 3-0 last week, or the last game, sorry.
Yeah, with Eborg. Yeah.
Away game with Eborg. And they're our biggest away wins. So if we score another goal, we've equalled it again. Getting good at this European life, aren't we?
I've got another aside, just to divert attention away from the football, which is a bit dull at the moment. I noticed in the first half, the camera panned round and one of our supporters was enjoying a beer in the away end. Yeah. So I think that's allowed in Europe.
Yeah, we were doing that in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
I noticed that the home support were also enjoying the most famous Danish export, I think, since Lurpak. It's a feature of. Funny enough, I've had occasion to look up football grounds regulations recently, and it is a specific thing in law that you're not allowed to have a pint anywhere in view of the pitch at a football match. So you could go, the London Stadium's being used the next week for, God knows, for athletics at the end of the season or whatever. You quite happily take a beer in then, but not when it's a football match.
Yeah. No, I just noticed as well when we scored, I think it was the penalty that again the camera panned round to our lot, and a couple of pints rather got predictably got launched in the air. Now I know
we're also being launched downwards towards the supporters as well, which is again something that we don't like to see. It was something that was frequently happening at Frankfurt, to the point where one poor lady in a wheelchair actually had one laying on her lap, and I presume it was her son, stroke carer. They left almost immediately after that, and that was quite a while before the end of the game as well. So, yeah, it's I just don't like seeing it. And of course, at a football match, you're not always guaranteed that it's beer in the cup either, are you? So.
Yeah, exactly. It's poor form, and also with the cost of living crisis, and beer's expensive in Scandinavia.
Well, we ain't though, is it?
It's nearly as costly in Scandinavia as it is in a London stadium, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it's that expensive.
It's like, you go to buy beer. If you go to buy beer in a London stadium, they have to do a credit reference check first to make sure you can afford it.
5 minutes into the second half, anyway. West Ham still leading 3-1. Not a lot happening since the break, as you can tell by all of this general chat about everything else. But Hammers, it should be an enjoyable second half, these chaps. Anyway, hopefully a couple more goals and break that record of goals scored away from home in the European match. And Mets, did anyone, talking of that Mets game, of course, 3-1, legendary match from 1999, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rio, you were there, weren't you, that night? Didn't you get out there?
Yeah. Went ticketless, traveled for 4 countries, went to the loo in each one of those just to make my mark in Europe. Yeah, one of the best nights of my life. That was fantastic.
I love that. There's that amazing picture of the crowd. We took about 3,000 out there, didn't we?
Yeah.
And there's that lad getting not the fire extinguished water though. I think isn't it like one of the water cannons?
Yeah.
And he's just like this, and it's one of my favourite pictures of our travelling fans from over the years. But that was some night, wasn't it? Bearing in mind, I mean, we were massive underdogs, weren't we, going into that, having lost? Was it Luis Sahar who scored the
Yeah.
only goal
He
for
was
Mets, wasn't it?
their man at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, before he went to Man U. And Fulham, wasn't it? He was at as well, I think.
Fulham, yeah, he went Fulham first, I think Man U. But yeah, I think that was kind of that little run that they'd had was kind of what brought him to the attention of the scouts a little bit. Really, I don't think we should tell people there's really square root of sod all happening really just now. Soufal's just been knocked off the ball fairly, but went flying and not. We were talking about making a meal of things. He didn't make a meal of it. He did get fairly shoulder to shoulder, but when you get one of those, you're going to go flying, and he did. So it's quite funny to watch. But good old.
There's another stat for you. Got another stat. Here we go. They're coming thick and fast tonight. Craig Dawson has scored in the Premier League, the Championship, League One, League Two, Europa League, and Europa Conference League. He just needs the Champions League to complete the set. That was from Richard Jolly on Twitter.
That's pretty impressive.
Hasn't scored in the Southern Amateur League, though, has he?
Oh, yeah.
I have the advantage of him then.
Alf Garnett's ex-missus, of course, former moderator of this parish, saying that I don't think we're ever going back to the days of Di Canio catching the ball as he did at Everton, wasn't it? Because the keeper is injured these days, we'd smash it into the net and see what happens. I think most people were pretty disappointed he didn't do it on that occasion. Although, of course, it was a bit of a myth, wasn't it? Because it wasn't quite as clear cut as people tried to make out in the media. Yeah,
the ball was going kind of away from goal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he had an open goal. He'd have had to bring it down, control it. There were people between, but even so, it was still a sporting thing to do. Well, I think Redknapp did his nut, didn't he?
His reaction was hilarious, wasn't he? He said that it was along those lines. It was a great thing to do, but I could have killed him for doing it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Was it a draw that game? I'm trying to think, or did we lose 1-0? I think it was a draw, wasn't it?
1-1.
Yeah.
From memory, it's a draw, but my memory's kind of fallible. I have to say.
Long time ago now, but yes. Is anything happening in this game? Anyway?
There's a game of football one, isn't there?
Yeah.
Bit of collector's item, though. Di Canio being north of Watford.
Well, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah. True. No, nothing's happening. We're nearly 10 minutes into we are 10 minutes, I think, into the second half, and we haven't had a shot yet. We're still waiting for our first effort on goal since the break, and I guess Rio, that probably suits us nicely, doesn't it? Just to stroll through the second half, take it easy, no injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we need. Like as I said, right, get the job done early, make a few changes, integrate a few of the youngsters. The people like Cresswell and Dawson with certain injury get some game time. It's a perfect scenario at the moment.
I was just looking at the BBC's coverage because that's where I'm getting player names and things from stats. And the comment is 51 minutes, not a lot happening here. Come back in another couple of minutes or so and we'll let you know. But it's sit back home. When we win the ball, keep it. Said that now that the Danes are on the attack. That's good work though from Soufal. Although he tried to over exit a bit and loses possession. And
one thing
Danes are going to get in midfield.
One thing we haven't mentioned is apparently, and I've not actually checked the attire of the travelling fans, but apparently it's very chilly out there in Denmark tonight. A couple of people I've seen on Twitter remarking that it's the coldest they've been.
Chili's in South America, Gray.
Yes. Yeah, but I was just
I'll
trying
give
to see
you-
if
I'll give you
our fans had
techie nerd
coats on, or
jokes.
whether they'd gone out there thinking, oh, well, it's kind of still summer, it's still sort of Europe, and maybe it got caught cold, as it were. But
Do you remember that trip to Austria where we had 2 or 3 days of blazing sunshine and all that, and then when it came to the day of the game, it was like build an ark weather, wasn't it? It was.
do you know what? I to this day, I don't think I've ever experienced a wetter day than that.
Oh.
It was torrential for the entire duration of the trip to the Kitzbühel, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kitzbühel, yeah.
Because you could see the mountains in the distance, and
With that
it was
goat
just-
watching the game.
that's right. The mountain goat, yeah.
Up the mountain.
It wasn't
And
like
it
one
was-
man and his dog. It was one man and his goat on that
Yeah.
particular occasion.
And it
Who did we
was,
play?
yeah, I mean, it was
Panathinaikos,
like,
was it?
yeah, Panathinaikos, yeah. I mean, it was. I had a waterproof on, and it just went straight through it. And yeah, when I got back to the room after the game, it was like peeling your shirt off underneath it. It was that wet, and yeah, but and yet the 3 days prior to that, it'd been beautiful. Hadn't
Glorious
it?
sunshine. Yeah,
Lovely.
beautiful.
Stayed in Salzburg, beautiful city, Salzburg. Still nothing happening, as you probably work out. But yeah, referee got in the way. Declan Rice had the ball there, but referee slightly got in the way without blocking him off, and Rice lost the ball as a result. But not much he could do there, because the ref didn't actually touch the ball. But by the time Rice had put it past him, Dane was able to intercept. So yeah, a good bit of obstruction from the ref there.
That particular trip that you were just referring to, it was the host for one of my favourite ever photos that I took in my many years of taking pictures in and around West Ham, and it was when Bob the Hat decided to grab Valon Barami at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And Bob, put it kindly, was slightly inebriated. Well, no, he was absolutely trolleyed. Let's be honest.
Tree. He
was absolutely off his cake,
Yeah.
and he tried to get Valon Barami to wear his hat, didn't he? And Barami was having absolutely none of it. And in the end, he accepted that he would pose with Bob the Hat for a photo. And I've never seen a more miserable looking player in all my life than Barami on that particular occasion.
I've got one of me and Barami's at least smiling, because I was polite enough to ask for a photo without bothering him with a hat. So
Without breathing on him, I think.
yeah. What they were doing, that was it, because they had a sort of an impromptu bar. It wasn't it was like a sort of, there was a kitchen there, and it was like you bought your drinks through the kitchen window.
Yeah.
And I went to get a drink, and of course basically it's beer, it's lagery beer, as you'd expect from Austria. And the young lady with whom I was ensconced at the time was there, and she said, yeah. She said, what drinks are they? And I said, well, I think it's beer or wine. She said, I'll have a glass of wine. So I said, I'll have one beer and one wine. And she pulled out 2 plastic pint mugs and filled the beer with the pint mug with beer, and did the same with the wine. So he was knocking out pints of Austrian white wines. So I
wonder it was a rowdy crowd that day.
Yeah, it was.
Behaviour.
It was. Yeah, so and it was ridiculously cheap as well. A pint of lager and a pint of wine cost me about £2 or something. Still nothing happening, guys. You can tell, but that was a good trip. I enjoyed that one.
Yes, of course. One of Chaz's, organised by Chaz.
Yeah, bless him.
As he used to do back in the day. We are up to the hour mark anyway, and
yeah, it's a change being made. At least something interesting's happening. Linesman's held his flag up in that manner, and it's I think that's Hellenius is the skipper who's taken his armband off, and number 11 is Hellenius. I got one right. He's coming on for somebody I don't know, because I haven't seen his number. Number 23 is Adamson. That's Tony Adamson, which amused me. So the Danish Tony Adams. Klinger's gone off. He was fun. Not sure who's come on for that. Kuska's come off as well, the goal scorer. And so Adamson is on, Jorgensen is on, and Culland is on, and Declan Rice is taking the walk off. Again, probably wise given. 3 players coming on: Bowen, Benrahma, and Souček. I hope that there are 2 more players coming off. Rice is off, and Paqueta is withdrawn, and who's the 3rd one? Bowen's coming on for Skamaka. So there you go. So Bowen, who's been named in the England squad again today. So 1 England player off, 1 on.
Yeah, we've got that rather unusual possibility of when England face Italy next week, there could potentially be 4 West Ham players on the pitch at the same time if Rice and Bowen play and Skamaka and Emerson are involved.
Yeah.
But now there's one for the statisticians. When was the last time that happened? There were 4 West Ham players playing in a single international involving England. Probably never happened, I would wager. Unless it was maybe against Scotland, maybe when Ray Stewart. No, of course it wouldn't have been much later, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Probably never happened, actually. Rio, any thoughts on that? You're
I think it might be the mid-60s, because at one stage we had more Hurst Peters and John Byrne just in the England setup.
Yeah. Although Hurst came in fairly late into the lineup. I don't know. I don't think Hurst and Byrne really overlapped for England. Now, Byrne was a player who, in this day and age would, West Ham go for it. It looked offside, and Cornet was kind of manhandled off it, but it was offside. Well off. But in this day and age, Byrne had problems with his knees, and back then keyhole surgery and stuff really wasn't a thing. What they used to do was pretty much just whip your cartilage out and hope for the best, and which then just gave you all sorts of trouble in later life. Modern surgical practices these days would have been, you'd have seen Byrne would definitely have been in that World Cup squad. Hell of a player, but sadly not to be. But so I don't think we'd have the 4 there. Just try to think. We might have had more Hurst and Peters in a side with Bobby Ferguson playing for Scotland, because he had the odd cap.
Good shout.
He got 1 or 2 caps sort of in the 60s, but there again, they may have been before he was with West Ham. He might have got a cap or 2 with Kilmarnock. But we just had a sort of half chance there with players wriggling. I couldn't quite see who wriggled into the box, but was snuffed out. And again, not much happening again. So,
well, there's a lot happening in northern Germany right now, because there's a cracker of a game going on between Cologne and Slovakia. Cologne took the lead after 11 minutes and went 2 up just before. This is another Conference League game, by the way, hence why I mentioned it. Cologne 2 up at half-time, Adamian 11 minutes and Dietz after 42 minutes. And then Slovakia got it back, 2 goals in 3 minutes, Kalabiska and Petrozela 3 minutes later. And then Dejan Ljubicic has just scored from the penalty spot for Cologne to make it 3-2. So that looks like a bit of a rip-roaring game. And of course,
can we go and watch that one?
Well, I was just going to say, if Silkeborg managed to get another one back here, we could be in a similar situation. But not much evidence of that looking pretty likely at the moment. Rio, it's not seen much from the Danes since half-time, have we? It's almost like they've...
I think pedestrian is probably the kindest word you can give.
Yeah.
The only observation we took was before the changes just been made, when we'd conceded possession and we're letting the Danes basically knock the ball about and treating it like a training game, to be honest, we'd have kept our shape far better than we had done in the entire first half. There's a clear bank of 5 at the back when we're out of possession. The 2 central midfielders were clearly patrolling in front, and the forward players acting as a banker, the extra line just before that. And yeah, so maybe that's one benefit to come. We might be getting a little bit of shape using this formation, and these games, where the virtually training games in this second half, right? It's a way of integrating that and getting people used to it.
So just had a nearly moment there. A diagonal ball played in from the left. Bowen had a lot of space, just tried to flick it on towards, I think Cornet was up there with him. Just didn't quite get enough on it to get it past the covering defender. But yeah, clutching at straws for something to happen. Just quoting the BBC guy who catalogued all the subs. I'll come back to that because we're on the break now with Bowen, who's trying to look a bit lively. Soufal now. Soufal, he's offside anyway. I think he tries to play it through to Bowen, but I think it had been given offside, but the ball was far too hard. But yeah, the BBC guy cataloguing all the substitutes, and then after that has said, it took me 3 minutes to write all that out, but I'm confident I didn't miss much while I was doing it. So give you some idea of what this game's doing.
I don't know how we've never won a year. Like, we've only won the one European trophy. But you know our over European record is played 67, won 34, drawn 13 and lost 20 with 111 goals scored. This is prior to tonight. 111 goals scored and 71 against, so a plus 40 goal difference as well. It's quite a record, really.
Yeah, it's kind of the reason we haven't won much is that the earlier days when we were sort of in European competitions, so your 65s, your 70s, your 65s, your 66 even when we got the semi-final, and your 76 were basically you lost one tie, you were out. There were no group stages back then, so it kind of distorts the stats a little bit, the change in format. But yeah, it's still not a bad record, is it?
Nick, I was just going to come to you on. We saw the England squad name today. Rice and Bowen both in. Do you think Bowen was a bit lucky to be included today?
Mm-hmm. I do actually, because his form's not been great this season, but at least Southgate's persevering with him, which again is something I like to see.
Yeah,
rather than players just called up, they're having a little bit of a iffy period and then them dropped. It's clear he sees him as somebody that for the future, and he's not just going to drop him off the back of a couple of bad games. Another little stat: tonight will be the fourth game on the trot in Europe that we have scored 3 or more goals.
Wow, that is impressive.
Just went on the break on the attack. Benrahma had a shot that was blocked. We got the ball back on the edge, but we've been trying to be far too intricate and working it between us, and the Danes have managed to get clear. Subject to Bowen, the answer to your question, is he lucky to be in the squad, is a little bit yes and no. Yes, if you look at purely on his form this season, where he's sort of just beginning to sort of come into a bit. I thought, when he's come on as a sub, last week he looked useful. But then you say no, because the last few England games where he was first in the squad, he was one of the few people to come out of those games with any credit.
Yeah.
So having not really done anything wrong, and in fact, in a team that were playing rubbish after the end of the domestic season last year and looked all right, you'd have felt a little bit for him had he not got in the squad.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And he certainly seems to stick with players, doesn't he? I mean, you've probably all seen the furore about Maguire being kept in the squad and Phillips being included, despite I think he's only played one game, hasn't he, for Man City so far this season. Not quite sure why that is, whether that's due to injury or just because he hasn't been selected. But he seems to persevere with players that he feels are going to be valuable And he certainly feels interesting to see Eric Dyer back in the squad today, Rio. Someone that even Spurs fans have kind of pilloried him at times. So he's obviously got found a bit of form again.
Yeah, never has a player been so aptly named, Dyer. He's not one for me. I mean, I know Phillips hasn't got much game time. I think it's about a minute, hasn't it, this season? But he's proven himself in England shirt and works well with Declan Rice in that kind of pivotal role. Dyer, he's versatile in the fact that he can be equally awful in centre midfield, and the times he has to slip back in the centre half. I just don't see what he brings to the party.
Yeah.
Silkeborg
just had a shot, by the way. Just to...
Hey.
It was horrible. It was high and wide, but it was a shot. So sorry, Rio. Just something happening in the game.
I say as for Jared Bowen, as you've all said, on current form this season, he's not started really well. Last year, he had the benefit because I did a bit of research on him, and he went away, worked on his uncle's farm, got himself mega fit by just running through the fields.
Yeah.
This season, he's obviously gone away with England, had very little time to have a bit of a rest. So he's not starting as well as he would have done last year. He'll find it because he's a good player. But I think, as Noam said, it was a shocking summer for England football. And one of the few players you can actually say, oh, he did his best, he did all right out there. He didn't let anyone down, really. He was Jared Bowen. Everyone else was an absolute shocker, Declan Rice included.
You're talking about Phillips as well, and I'd rather see Phillips there and playing alongside Rice, which is a really good partnership, I think, than Henderson anywhere near the squad. I mean, there's a player who I think if you remember, I can't remember who said it years ago, something similar about a different player, but I've seen things on Star Trek: The Next Generation that I find easier to understand than the fact that Henderson's got so many England caps.
That was you, wasn't
just
it?
on a corner. Back pass went back to the Danish keeper. He larruped it forward, but the referee said it had gone over. The replay probably inconclusive from that angle, but it looked, it was close to it. So we got a corner on the left. Cresswell's got his hand up.
That was out.
Yeah.
Unadjust. That was a good call.
Yeah. Corner comes across from Cresswell. Doesn't find any West Ham shirts. Headed clear, but we win the ball back. Bowens managed to keep it, but loses possession. And the Danes are on the break now. They've got 3 against 1 here if they're clever. And it's 3-2. The shot was saved by Areola, but it fell straight to Tengstedt and put away the rebound. So, Adamson, Tony Adamson was one who came out of defence. Bowen picked up the ball from the corner and was basically had nowhere to go, and he was trying to keep possession, but just lost it, overran it. And there goes Adamson away. He's got, as I say, 3 against 1. Slightly selfishly shot. Areola palms it out. It's come straight back at Tengstedt, the number 10, who basically takes a touch and got all day to bury it. Well, that's woken things up a little bit. Really, Adamson, they should have been giving Adamson pelters for shooting at that point, but they were lucky that, as I say, the save went the right way, so no harm done from the Danish point of view. But if that had been cleared, I think it'd have been getting a few comments, shall we say. So, game on.
It's actually Jared Bowen who's conceded possession really poorly.
Yeah.
With his back to goal and been totally caught out there. I mean, it's an amateur hour, really. That Rio, isn't it? In those circumstances, why are we committing so many bodies forward? Crazy.
Yeah, very silly decision. Very slack again. I think we've had it too comfortable in this second half, haven't we? And the concentration there was a dropped, but shocking piece of defending there by Bowen, breakaway goal, and maybe it isn't as cut as dry as we all thought. let's West Hamify it a bit, eh?
Yeah, kind of a little bit like the first half, insofar as everything was very comfortable. Then suddenly we're 1-0 down. The reaction to that was very good. Yeah, we need to sort of get back and do exactly what we did in the first half and start playing again. You know, we really had our feet up for the last 30 minutes, really. Yeah, since the start of the second half, really. So yeah, come on, West Ham, wake up.
Conceding from our own corner, a bit of a speciality of old.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier on, didn't I? Not unknown, is it?
Well, we've got 13 minutes to go. It looked like we might be cruising, but now we're hanging on a little bit.
How many subs we got left? 2, isn't it?
Is it 2 more?
Yeah.
We've
2 more.
Yeah, I think it's 5, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, bring Antonio on so he can get his obligatory goal against them, you know.
Yeah.
Put it to bed.
Yeah, that's definitely something we've been lacking a bit, isn't it, in the second half? Skamaka was doing a pretty good job up top in the first half, and we've not really had that sort of focal point, I don't think, since the break or since we made
Antonio and Fornells, that'll do. See the game out, and rather than seeing it out by defence, see it out by getting another goal. Unless one of them is on. He's not on, is he? Fornells yet?
No, not yet. No.
I thought Rio had been quiet.
Oh, nice turn from Benrahma. Gets to the byline, tries to get the cross in, but it's blocked. It doesn't even go for a corner, but we win the ball back. And Fournier tries to play in some. I don't quite know what he was trying to do, but terrible ball, and the Danes can bring it away. But, you know, it's where we've been scrappy in the second half. We've got in a few sort of semi-decent positions where in the first half there was some nice passing. It was slick. It was accurate. The passing's been all over the place in the second half. Lots of loose stuff.
Yeah, back to normal.
Yeah.
Benrahma is a bit crap, isn't he? Let's be honest here. I've just seen that bit. He made no attempt to try and beat his man. Just tried to win a corner. And kicked it
horrible
against him.
second there. I thought a Danish lad was clean through, but Adamson again, but it played over the top. And yeah, I think a VAR would have given him just offside. His feet are level, but he's leaning forward, so it'd been one of those ones where his head would have been the wrong side of the line. But that passing's terrible. But then they've given the ball away, and Bowen falls over. I think he might have actually stayed down. Let's have a look. He just sort of tried to control the ball, but fell over doing so. And he's off picture at the moment. But for a second, I simply don't know. He's running back. For a second, he seemed to look like he was staying down for a sec, but he's not. He's back up. But, so I'm guessing if you fall down on these pitches, having done it a couple of times, it is a bit hard. Now, Silkeborg on the attack again, but can't find the cross. And need to start imposing ourselves on this game a bit, you know, because it's all very well sitting back and letting them have possession when they're doing sort of with it, but they're now showing a bit of attacking intent. Which,
they're sniffing someone here, aren't they?
Yeah. I think I was preferring it when it was boring earlier on.
I can tell you, crowd watch, that most of the West Ham fans have indeed got coats or tracksuit tops on. There you go. Most interesting thing that's happened to the West Ham end.
That should be 3-3. That should be 3-3. Adamson again, who's caused all sorts of problems, turned in the box, found some space, got the shot away. Brilliant save by Areola, but come on, West Ham, wake it up. Let's have a look again. It's again like in the first half. Players have been allowed to time. People are just sort of backing off them. Cressel's behind him. Dawson doesn't get any sort of challenge in there at all. He turns between the two of them, fires the shot away. That is a brilliant. Look at this save when you see it. That's a game winner. That's as good as a goal from Areola. I can't praise that save highly enough.
Stunning save.
Yeah.
Dawson was lucky not to give away. Was he in the box?
no
Dawson
sort
was
of proper
lucky not to
challenge
give
at
away
all,
a
was it?
penalty there.
Again, promising move from West Ham, but stupidly offside there from Emerson. Really should have stayed on. Played a 1-2 with Bowen, but that was daft, really. Should have stayed on side. Pulled it back. Cornet was in the middle, put the ball in the net well after the whistle had gone. And I guess a little bit more promising, though. Nice little bit of play there. Now, Bowen's got some space on the left of the box. Plays the ball in. It's play. No, the whistle had gone again. Again, Cornet being caught offside in the middle. But better from West Ham. But if we can stop getting caught offside, then let's have a look again. Yeah, some good work again from Bowen. Who, Cornet's just gone too soon. Good ball from Bowen, mind, but as I say, just delayed that run by half a second.
I've got to say that chance for Adamson a few moments ago, if he puts that anywhere, bar straight down Areola's throat, that's a goal. He's not saving that. I mean, he's 15 yards out. He's only got
away from his body. Yeah, it wasn't sort of a catchable thing. That was and he was kind of almost going the wrong way as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, but it's as I say,
that's a magnificent play. But yeah, he puts it anywhere else, that's gone in. Yeah,
should be scoring from there. I think we're a touch fortunate to still be ahead here, but anyway.
All right, long throw in from the left for the Danes. That's just headed straight out for a goal kick. So, so I think having sort of taken a few Rice is obviously a steadying influence there, and having taken him off, to rest his legs, I think we perhaps a little bit guilty of thinking it was one, which to all intents and purposes it felt like it, but as we always know, it's only one silly, and again we give the ball away. Bowen does brilliantly though, comes back, ball's played towards him, he had no chance of getting it, but he came back deep into his own half to rescue it. We lost possession again, but Bowen prevented something from developing there.
I've got to say I'm with Nick on that. In terms of the subs, I'd like to see Antonio come on for the last few minutes and give them something to think about in their half of the pitch.
Yeah, we need to be imposing ourselves on them.
Yeah,
we're not being proactive at all. We're reacting all the time. I mean, look, everybody's behind the ball. We're defending that, and with all due respect, I don't mean this nastily towards the Danes, but they're the team that didn't from Denmark that didn't get into the Europa League, which should give you some idea of the stand. They're the team that lost 2-0, the team that we pretty much comprehensively walloped over two legs, really.
It's a poor performance if it stays like this.
Yeah.
But again, as I'm sure David Moyes will point out, a win's a win at the end of the day. It's not the ideal performance, and yet again,
don't get ahead of yourself.
No, of course we're not. There's still time to go. But
sorry, I'm leaning the wrong way and I'm covering up with you.
What have we got? Just over 5 minutes to go. Second half has been terrible, says AGXM. So yes, Craven's upset. So he's really angry with this tonight. Hope there's no cat in distance, Craven.
His name's Craven, not Kurt.
Yes. No, it's disappointing. It seems a bit weird to be saying that when we've scored 3 goals. But
sorry, I just looked up. I looked away for a second. I looked up. Cornet's come off. I'm not quite sure who's come on there. Oh, Fornals is on. Fornals is on for Cornet. Sorry, I literally looked away for a second and I see Cornet sort of going back into the dugout. Yeah. Or into the racing car seats or whatever they have in Denmark. So so that's one of the subs. I think we've got one left, haven't we?
Yeah, that's 4 now. Yeah,
and we got one window left, haven't we? Because you're allowed 3, aren't you? So we've had 4 nails. Yeah, 4 minutes now. I'd have put Antonio on a bit earlier, to be honest. Probably looks like he's not going to get on now. With there being 4 minutes, I would say there probably isn't going to be an awful lot of stoppage time so far. Now Fornals gets on the ball properly for the first time. We're making the runs and the ball's not being released and players are running offside, and Fornals have just lost it completely. But Fornals is going forward, and Ben Rama's, I think, made a run in front of him, and it's just run offside. So Fornals has got to stop, delay the attack, and it all breaks down. Now Dane's got one over here on the left, their left. Cross goes in quite deep. Emerson cleverly heads that out for a throw in. That's very cleverly angled header. That nice little touch to put it out for a throw rather than a corner. 2.5 left. As Nick rightly said, the Danes are sniffing something here, but I think that's gone out for a throw. I think Lines was flagging for something, not quite sure what.
No, it's a bit. They would not be surprised to see them get an equaliser. You know. Oh, I've got to remember what way I'm leaning.
Front foot, aren't they?
Yeah. Comfortable.
I tell you what I noticed there, that going back to when you were talking about Fornals had the ball and Ben Rama raced through offside. Did you see his reaction? He almost threw a mini tantrum when
Ben Rama
when he realised that he wasn't getting the ball. I'm not sure that's what you want to see. In terms of
Cresswell's just picked up a yellow for taking too long over the throw-in. Now, given some of the time wasting I've seen at the Olympic from sides over the last few weeks, he barely picked the ball up before the referee had the card out. I mean, that seemed. I'm all for referees wave play. Oh, they're through. Oh, that's a great saving tackle there. Tengstek could have had another there. And let's have a look. Ball played in. Tengstek's on the ball. He's just about to fire the shot in. And Sufal just gets a foot in. And that saved our bacon, that touch. Very harsh on Cresswell there. I'm all for referees stamping out on time wasting, and had Cresswell been taken forever on it, but that didn't seem that long to me. Maybe I'm wrong, and we had it for longer. And if that's the case, I apologise. But that looks harsh.
I think you're right. I think it was a bit harsh. I think he was looking for options. There was just nothing on.
Yeah.
The ref didn't know. That's just how slow we take throw-ins.
4 minutes of stoppage time, which we've only really had 2 sub breaks, haven't we? Really, two.
Yeah. Well, you've had 4 now, haven't you? We've had 2 each. So
yeah,
I suppose if they're giving 30 seconds for each one, and the bog standard 1 minute on top,
where there were 6 changes, that all happened at once, didn't it? So it's not like there were maybe 4, just 3 I would have thought would have been about right. 4 just seemed a little bit maybe he's generous, making a point and adding on the extra minute for Cresswell taking 10 seconds over a throw in. It's
could be.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got another 4 minutes of this to endure. Have we had a shot in the second half? I'm struggling. I'm looking back at my notes.
No, I don't think we have. I can't remember one. Not one that wasn't from an offside position or something, I
think we must have done, because I'm looking at the stats, and it says we've live stats. So we've had 9 shots, 5 on target. I think that was 7, possibly 8 at half time. I can't remember it anyway.
Oh, now we're through here. Now if we can work something here, we've got men over. We've got the first touch is terrible. and we lose it. We got into the box there. That we should have been putting that to bed there. And again, that's just scrappy. It's sloppy. We had 3-on-1, and you know, our control there was just shocking. And you know, where that should be 4-2 and good night everyone, and it wasn't. Very annoying.
Well, we are in injury time anyway. Must be nearly up. What have you got, Noam? Just under 2 minutes left on your screen.
We're just 59. 2 minutes played now, so 2 minutes left of stoppage time. Now, what's the referee doing here? He's pointing at. Oh, late substitution. Lanzini's going off, and that'll be Coventry coming on, young Coventry. So, and I'm guessing that's try and wind the clock down a bit. Lanzini, who was nearer the far touchline, was sent over that way, I think, to go off. Yeah, he's walking around the. Could be walking around behind the goal, so he'll get a bit of applause as he goes by. So really fairly anonymous in the second half. Ben Rama, has he kept that in? No, they're saying no. Just looked like he was going to burst away, but it didn't look like he kept it in, but carried on running for a second or so. Again, that will wind the clock down another second or two. Minute left now. 55 seconds. Dane's on the ball. Dangerous ball in, and but it's again the Dane gets a head on it and just sort of sends it out for a goal kick. That was Adamson again, who's been their player since he's come on. So 30 seconds left, and Areola took his time going to get the ball, putting it down for a goal kick now. Places it very, very carefully. I would say he's looking for a particular blade of grass, but of course that's he'll have a long look on if he's doing that on this pitch. Now somebody's thrown an empty beer glass on the pitch, which is obviously playing right into our hands, because Areola puts his hand up and walks over slowly and picks the thing up to throw it behind the goal. But yeah, bit dim there from the Danes if they didn't want to see any time wasting going on. So bit head tennis, goes out for a throw. We're 20 minutes into overtime of stoppage time. Fornell's jumping for the ball there has given away a free kick. So 30 seconds into overtime, Danes, instead of launching it, take it short. Now they launch it. And yeah, Adamson again is definitely the player they're aiming for, but we cut it out before it gets anywhere near him. Super cuts out a header, another header away. I think that'll be a lot. Ref's got a whistle in his mouth, and yep, that's full time. So it's a win. Sorry, it's a win. I was leaning far too back out of camera shot there, obviously. So yeah, good news. It's a win. 3 more points. Terrible second half. Not much to say there.
We don't seem to be able to perform for 90 minutes, do we, this season? It's either the first half that's awful or the second. I suppose tonight, you know, it could have been both. Really, at the start, we started really poorly, but 3 goals in the last half hour of the first half sort of made that look a bit more respectable. But Rio, talk to me about that second half. What was going on there?
Well, the first was poor enough, wasn't it? We went in the break 3-1 up, but it was a shocking performance. Very pedestrian, disjointed, not great. Come out in the second half, we basically conceded possession far too much, let the Danes play around with it. Although, as I observed, we kept our shape marvellously well. We didn't do anything. We just looked, we took a shocking performance in the first half and made it 15 times worse. We offered nothing. And against the level of opposition we're playing, we should be like comfortably walking these games and not put them to bed, as Noam said. But everything about the second half performance was completely wrong. We created nothing. We looked all at sea. Every time we got possession, tried to go forward, it didn't work. And sloppiness crept in at the back again at the end. It's lucky Ariola was on his guard, because that fine save at the end really kept us in this tie.
Yeah. Very strange evening. West Ham gone away from home, scored 3 goals again, yet we're all sort of feeling a little bit down in the dumps after that disappointing second half. Just run through the goals for you. It was Kusk who opened the scoring for our hosts in the 5th minute before Manuel Lanzini levelled from the spot. 8 minutes later, after Cornet was judged to have been pushed by Salquist. It was a clear push. It was a clear penalty. Scamacca put West Ham ahead for the first time on the night after 25 minutes with a fantastic strike from the edge of the box. And then Craig Dawson, off his shoulder, put West Ham 3-1 ahead and into what should have been an unassailable position 7 minutes from half-time. West Ham struggled at the start of the second half, made a few changes. Bowen, Benrahma, Souček on for Rice, Paqueta and Scamacca. And unfortunately, it really made a huge difference. West Ham were bereft of any ideas after that. And Tengstedt made it 3-2 when he converted from close range after Adamson's shots had been palmed out by Ariola to make West Ham just feel a little bit uncomfortable for the last, 17 minutes or so. But in the end, we managed to see it out. It's 2 wins from 2 in the group. It means West Ham are top of the group, because Anderlecht are currently drawing 0-0 in Romania with FCSB. That one, I think, is still going, that game. And actually, just quick look at the stats there, just in terms of West Ham's next opponent. We play Anderlecht next. Pardon?
It's finished now. That's
it has finished, is it? Just looking at the stats there, FCSB, 16 shots, 4 on target. Anderlecht, 4 shots, 3 on target. Anderlecht 60% possession to FCSB's 40. So perhaps not the force they once were, Anderlecht. But anyway, Nick, is 2 wins out of 2. But West Ham far from flying at the moment in any capacity in any competition.
No, it's quite right. And to be honest, it's starting to get quite concerning. I said after 3 games into the season, a bit like is my phrase again. It's just got that vibe to it where I think the poor play is kind of being hidden by the results in Europe, because we're not playing well yet. We're still sticking 3 goals past teams every time. Obviously, you look at the league, then you look at the league table, and what is it? The 1 win and a draw from our 5 games.
6 now, yeah.
Games. Yeah. It's not looking good, not just for us, but it's not looking good for David Moyes. Now, rightly or wrongly, it's a results business. And it's not been good for a while. And I've said this before, and it ain't going all negative. I'm just trying to be pragmatic and balanced about it. How long is this going to go on for until the board are thinking, hang on a minute, we've bought him a load of players here, and there doesn't seem to be much difference. And the only constant is David Moyes. Of course, he deserves a season of transition, which is what we're having. But if things don't improve, I think the board are going to be asking him some difficult questions over the coming weeks and months. And because I'm not seeing any signs that there's any cohesion there at all. I'm seeing no signs. I thought there was some glimmers of hope in the last couple of matches, but it just seems a false dawn. He's persisting with this 3 at the back or the 5 at the back, whatever it is. Even I'm not too sure. I'm not even sure that he's sure. It isn't working. It isn't working, and he needs to go back to basics. And some of our players have done that. They've gone back to basics. Rice's form has improved over the past few games, where he's stayed further back, and he's being that world class central midfielder that I've said he is all along. And I think maybe our manager needs to do the same. I think he's trying to be too clever because it ain't working. It really is not working.
No, is it just tactical difficulties with the team trying to adapt to David Moyes' new system? Is he perhaps tinkering too much? Should he just stick to what he's best at? Or what's your view on where, or are we going wrong? I mean, 2 wins out of 2 in Europe could be worse.
Yeah, I think we need to look at Europe in the same way as you might do with like a World Cup or anything with a group stage like that. Now, you always sit through the group stages, and they're always terrible, aren't they? I mean, it's your aim is to get through the group stages, and then roll your sleeves up and get down to the meat and drink. So I'm not too despondent. I thought we played well, particularly after we got the penalty last week. What wasn't good today was, again, first half, yeah, we started badly and they got the goal, which was kind of, sometimes gets the run of play, but it did come out of the blue, rather, shall we say. But then for about 20 minutes, it was all working. It was the one-touch play simply working. And, that move that saw Emerson shoot and get the corner from which we scored, that was... the other thing in here that we haven't thought about today was, second half, sorry, we went back to a thing where we sit back when we're sort of quite a way ahead, and which I don't like to see us doing. I'd have liked to have seen us go on the front foot more, beginning of second half. If you get that goal, you go on the front foot, you get a goal early on, then you can start tinkering about taking people off. Because if we'd gone 4-1 up, much as that Adamson looked, sort of decent and put us under pressure, that wasn't going to happen. But something that we haven't really factored in was that people were falling over a bit and all that. It was a plastic pitch, which is also a bit of a leveller. And I think that had a bit of an impact on today. Maybe I've been over generous to us, but in the league, the results, a couple of games where we've been very unfortunate with refereeing decisions. It's only takes a little bit of luck, and I don't think that there's that much to worry about. I'm not as pessimistic as Nick yet. Let's put it that way.
All right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
In terms of the new signings, Rio, no one's really sort of shone yet, have they? We've seen glimpses from Kera, Paqueta, Skamaka's grabbed a couple of goals, but not really done an awful lot apart from that. I mean, that you may say it's a bit harsh because that's his job as a striker. Is this a problem trying to integrate so many players? I mean, you mentioned it during the match. Is this a problem trying to integrate so many players at once?
Yeah, I think it's a major part of our problems this season. Far too many, despite the fact it's actually needed, we needed to kind of bolster the squad, get genuine quality in. You've got to also think, like, we've lost a key player, key man in Mark Noble, who helps the integration of new players in.
Yeah.
So he's missing, which is a big loss. And 8 or 9 new players in one window is a hell of a lot. And it doesn't add to the cohesive nature of what we need, what we're trying to achieve. So I think this year was always going to be a bit of a transition. It's just everything looks like it's too rushed, and everyone, like, we're trying to introduce only new players, but a complete new system. And that's why I think we look so disjointed every department at the moment. Skamaka, as you say, looks good in fits and starts, but he's only really shown in European games at the moment. Kera, I think, is the pick of our new players, but as we know, he's prone to an error or two. He's been left stranded a couple of occasions. Paqueta technically it looks wonderful. But tonight, against an opposition where you should be absolutely dominating for the price we paid, especially, it was rather anonymous. And the rest of them, just like Cornet, I'll see what he brings to the party. But again, because he's not being given a clear run in the side, he's in and out. And it's showing because he's not been given the opportunity to flourish and prove himself properly.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, with Cornet. And to some degree, I mean, Skamaka, but excuse me, Skamaka's was through illness. But I think what we need to be doing, and I kind of advocated this on the forum with these European games, is playing what Moyes in every single game, what Moyes would consider to be his starting 11 week in, week out in the Premier League, and treat these group stages, especially against with no disrespect to who we've just played and Bucharest, using these games as really a pre-season, a precursor for the league, because it doesn't matter how far we progress in this competition, really, when our bread and butter is the Premier League. And right now we're sitting towards the bottom of the Premier League. And this could have bode well for our Premier League form if he makes his mind up on a system that he wants to use, but does have the bottle to change it when it ain't working. Now, we can all see at the moment it's not working, and that's what I think is frustrating. Now, we're sitting here saying this despite the fact, we've just won 3-2 away in Europe, and it's and I don't want us to say, don't want to come across all Spursy, but we've got to remember that the quality of team that we were playing. What are they? League One standard bottom half championship, and that's not a put down to them. It's just the league that they're in, and we made it hard work. And I know we've seen time and time again in the past, on the one-off cup game, that we make hard work against our league opponents. But at this level, and the level that we want to be, we still shouldn't be like the West Ham of old, so to speak.
Yeah,
it's without being pessimistic. It does concern me for the rest of the season ahead. It's
worried. Okay, good stuff. And Noam, let's not forget, of course, that it was only due to what we've generally felt was a very dubious refereeing decision to rule out was it Torderson who scored or put the header in. Was judged to have failed Areola, that we've won the game tonight. Could have been much worse.
I've just had another look at that because it just showed it again, and I've actually been rewinding and going forward. And soft as it was, I could still see why the referee gave it. If you have a look at it again, and let me just run it back on here. I can tell you what I see here. That I've gone past it. Bear with me a sec. The guy does raise his arm up, and it's he does kind of put his arm very softly, I'll admit. There's a little movement of the arm into Areola's chest there. He sort of just goes like that, and that's, I think, why the referee's given it. It's that movement. So very soft, and he's made a complete meal of it. I'll just watch it again. Yeah, there's just a little, if he stands there with his arms down, which is what I think we all thought was happening, then very dubious. But the second the whistle goes anyway, the ball's dead. So it's not really a disallowed goal, because it's one of those ones where the ball's put in after the whistle.
Right. I'm still not buying it. You're still not selling it to me. For me, that's very fortunate all day long.
Look, I'm trying to explain why the referee might have given it.
I was just watching it actually while you were talking, but no, for me, that's we've got out of jail there.
That's what it's been given for. Is that movement of the arm?
Yeah.
The player stands still with his arms down. That's not a foul, but that movement of the arm is I don't agree that I agree with you. It's probably not really enough for a foul to be given, but
that's why you think he's given it.
that's why he's given it. Yeah, I can see why. And
Okay. Right.
yeah,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
but as I say, the point needs to be stressed that he's given that as soon as that arm's gone up.
Yeah.
And so anything that happens after that is academic anyway. So they'll say, oh, if we had VAR, we'd have drawn that game. Well, no. VAR wouldn't have been able to intervene.
Okay. Let's look ahead because time is pushing on. It's 10:10. West Ham, as we said, are top of the group, 6 points maximum, 6 points. We haven't played brilliantly tonight, but it's still 6 points from 6 goals in the back of the net. So could be a lot worse. Where are we this weekend? We're on Merseyside, Rio. Back up to Everton, another team struggling in the Premier League at the moment. You kind of get the feeling with that one. If we get a good start, the fans might turn on young Frank up there. What do you make of this fixture? Is it one that we really should be looking to go out and win, or would it be a case of as long as we take something from it, that's okay?
No, I think this is the kind of game we have to stamp our authority on, and we've got to pick up the 3 points. Should things go south this weekend, we're going back to that age-old question again. Is David Moyes' job under threat, as Nick rightly pointed out? Because their league form's been shocking. And Everton are not a good side at all. We really have to be capitalising on their woefulness. But we just don't look fluent enough at the moment. We don't look confident enough. Everything we seem to be trying in terms of new kind of new technical innovations for their squad doesn't work. So, as we saw at Villa, unless we go back to the tried and tested, I worry for us. But we should have the better players. We should have the better motivation after this week, tonight's performance as well, because 3 out of our 4 halves of European football this season have been absolutely shocking. Yet we're still top of the group rather comfortably at the moment. So the players got to look at this and go like, no, we know the performances aren't up to scratch. We need to go out there, and because there are competition for places now in our squad, no one's guaranteed to start at all. If you want to hold on to your place, perform.
That's an interesting point, actually. Is there competition? Because we've said that we've got a good squad this year. Now we've managed to build a squad, but when you look at the players like I hate to use him as an example, but we come back to him every time. Said Benrahma, I've just not seen anything from him, for example, to say he deserves to be challenging for a place in the team. One or two others perhaps like that who haven't looked particularly useful so far. What are you advocating, that we perhaps go back to our established, tried and tested 4 at the back rather than try and tinker with wing backs or a 4 in midfield?
Yep, certainly go back to the back 4. Obviously the fulcrum of Rice, who picks it, he's the only one in the whole squad who I'd actually say walks into it at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably if Thomas Souček is back fit, he plays alongside Declan. Then you've got, I think Antonio's been rested tonight for a reason. He starts.
Yeah.
And he can give it a good go for an hour. And if things aren't working out, you've got Scamacca, who's get a little bit of confidence in European games to come on and offer that alternative. Behind him, you've got wealth of attacking midfielder talent. Said hasn't had a good game tonight, but he started the season in reasonable form. Pablo's been delivering pretty much out of everyone. Jarrod's not been the greatest of form, but he's an established international, and he did so well for last season. It'd be kind of remiss to not give him a go and try him again and give him more confidence and more of a chance. But we have the players who can come in, like Cornet. He come against Chelsea, made an impact. So the sparks are there. It's just nothing seems kind of gelling properly, though.
All right, good stuff. Nick, Everton Sunday. Has Moyes got something of a selection headache up front now? Scamacca's you know, as we said, he's not really shone, but he's put the ball in the back of the net, and something Michail Antonio has struggled to do for quite some time on a consistent basis.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. I'd maybe be inclined to start with Skamaka and see how he goes, and bring on a fresh Antonio. I'm not sort of as confident as Rio in respect of Everton have been awful. They've drawn 4 games. That's where all their points have come from. They haven't actually picked up a win this season. But they've only lost 2. So they're not really getting beat. They're just not winning.
Yeah.
Whereas us, on the other hand, we're getting beaten. I don't think it's. I think that when you're looking at an Everton team and a team's looking for its first win of the season, and West Ham are rocking up in town at their home place, a team slightly devoid of confidence, I can't see anything more than a home win, I'm afraid. I can see that's going to go.
And also the first chance for us to witness Onana in the flesh. We were, you know, very close to buying until he decided that he'd rather take Everton's filthy lucre.
Yes. Because bear in mind as well, I mean, Everton, apart from Wolves, I think, let's have a look. I've got the table up here.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. They're sitting in 16th, and only Wolves, Tottenham, and Brighton have conceded less goals than them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not scoring many either. The same as us. So they've got a tight defence, and they're drawing games, and they've only lost one in their last 5.
Yeah,
their form probably doesn't. The impression that we're getting of them, because they're not winning games, their form actually is considerably better than ours. That is 1 win, 3 losses, and a draw. Same amount of points, granted.
Yeah, I just guess you look at the teams they've played, like Leeds, Brentford, Forest, lost to Villa, and then they've, you know, probably the best result would have been the goalless draw against Liverpool. But Liverpool, you've got to say, aren't firing on all cylinders themselves, are they? At the moment, obviously lost at home to Chelsea narrowly, but yeah, you get the feeling it's going to be 2 teams that are sort of very out of form, and it's going to be quite a tentative affair. No, what are you thinking for Goodison Park? Never traditionally a happy hunting ground of ours over the years, but we've had a couple of good results here in recent seasons. We're going to get another one this Sunday.
I know we've got the same points, and I see what Nick's saying. You know, that we've got the same points, and yet, you know, we've had a win, they haven't. But that fact that there's a 0 in the second column of the league table under their name, I think if we can get a decent early start. Sorry, disappeared there. I'm leaning back too far again. You know, if we get an early goal, you know, they're going to have a very nervy crowd on their backs, because, you know, they're 1-0 down and they haven't won yet. You know, that no matter how many points that you get for not losing, the fact that you know, you need wins, and a lot of players are injured as well that might be under consideration. I don't think they're that good a side, to be honest.
Is Lampard not that good a manager as well?
Well, he's managing in the Premier League, I think, despite his record rather than because of it. You know, look back. Where's he managed? He was at Derby originally, and okay, Derby have got their own set of problems, but, you know, didn't get them promoted there and really wasn't going anywhere. And then suddenly Chelsea had him, which, you know, Derby's a struggling mid-table second division, you know, second tier side. It's not your natural port of call for a manager if you've got aspirations on winning Champions Leagues, and didn't do particularly much at Chelsea, and yet Everton then figured he was the bloke to replace Benitez. I guess part of that is, he's available, but so am I. Nobody came knocking at my door. So I don't think he's that great a manager, and he's one that, unless he starts getting some sort of major upturn in form, he's one I don't see being there at the end of the season.
Okay, all right, good stuff. Well, let's just come back to before we wrap up. Let's come back to tonight. Do something slightly different tonight. I'll come to Rio first of all. Rio, let's look on the plus side before we crack off. Give me 3 positives from tonight. I missed it. What did you say?
3 goals away from.
I said, I beg your pardon when you said we're about to crack off. I'm like,
I didn't say crack one off. Rio, quick, save us. 3 goals.
3 positives. Okay, 3 goals away from. 3 points on top of the group in the Europa Conference. Sorry, and I think that black kit looks all right.
That's 4, isn't it?
No, so 3 points, top of the conference group, and the black kit looks kind of, all right.
And you said 3 goals as well, so that's 4. It doesn't matter. That's good. 4 positive points. That's even better. Nick, 3 positives from tonight, different to Rio's.
Skamaka's goal was rather lovely.
Yeah,
we've gone a game without any injuries.
Excellent.
And I had 2 Aldi choc ices during the coverage.
I'm not sure that one counts, but we'll take it anyway. Noam, you've got the hardest part of this, I guess, coming last. 3 more positives from tonight, please.
Because one of my
no chalk ice jokes.
2 of my 3 have already been taken. Okay, I'll put a slightly different turn on the being top of the group. I'll say the other result in the group was very good for us.
We're struggling now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not that. The point is that for this to be effective, we'd have had to have 9 things.
Yeah.
So it's a bit unfair if I'm not allowed to use, because I'd have said, the top of the group, no injuries, and at times in the first half we played some football, and it was really only the second half where we just sat back, thought we got the job done, and we stopped playing. And whenever you're in that sort of situation where you've gone for it a bit and then you're sitting back and then you let a goal in, it is so difficult to turn that, sort of get back on the front foot again. But yeah, a bit unfair. Unless you're allowed 9, unless you want 9 things, then I'm going to go with those 3. No injuries, favourable results, and some half decent football. I know we're all a bit doom and gloom because of the way the second half went, but let's not forget we played some good stuff in the first half once we got settled down.
Yeah, I see. Wasn't such a bad night after all, was it?
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw into the mix no VAR, a referee largely in our favour for a change, and free beer for the fans. There you go. Yeah. It's been a good night all in all when you look at it that way. One more thing, very quickly. Man of the match, no.
Oh, difficult. I think I'm going to give it Areola purely because that save was a match winner.
Okay. Areola for no. Nick?
Well, man of the match, Skamaka for that goal. I can't possibly give it to Areola for his disgraceful conning of the referee in the first half.
All right. Skamaka, Rio, someone new, or are you going to go with one of the other 2 chaps?
No, I was going to go Skamaka myself. Not only the goal, but he's just eating his way back into fitness again. And it's good to see him get a few minutes under the belt. And his link-up play, I know we didn't do a lot today, but his link-up play is impeccable.
All right, good stuff. For me, it's a choice of two. I actually thought we've not even mentioned him at all tonight, but I thought that Soufal had a decent game tonight.
Just
Put in some good crosses.
thinking that,
Yeah, was quite productive on the right hand side. We don't normally see him bombing down that wing and getting some decent deliveries in. I thought he put some in tonight, and also I thought Cornet had a decent game. Obviously won the penalty, nicked the ball off the defender and fed Skamaka for the second goal, so was heavily involved. Obviously, like everyone else, was a bit more quiet in the second half. But yeah, I think on the balance, I'd go for Cornet because of his involvement in 2 goals. So that's 3 different man of the match suggestions, which is, I don't know if that's indicative of how well they've played or how difficult it is to find someone who played particularly well. Or you could look at it both ways. But anyway, we're going to wrap up there. We're going to call it a night. My thanks to the rest of the team, to Noam, to Nick, and to Rio over there a bit further. Thank you, of course, as always, to you guys for joining us live on the stream. Thank you for all your comments. Oh, we're going to finish with this one. Eamon Green says, I like to add Silkeborg plays some good football. We need to wake up and realise that those teams aren't easily going to be a walkover Conference League or not. Yeah, I suppose one thing we probably haven't done enough is give credit to the opposition tonight. They gave us a good game. And I'm sure they'll be feeling a little bit disappointed. But anyway, who cares? We've won, and it's 3 more points for West Ham. 6 points out of 6, top of the group. Premier League next. Everton on Sunday. We'll be back here with you for another Eyes Up Mother Brown. What time's kickoff? Is it another 2 o'clock, chaps? Or
2 past 2 kickoff, I think.
Cool. Oh, of course, they moved it back 15 minutes, didn't they? Yeah. So we shall be here from around about 2 o'clock. Do join us if you're not travelling to Merseyside this weekend. If you have a safe journey. And take care and sing your hearts out for the boys. That's it for us tonight. Thank you. West Ham, 3 points. Bang, bang, bang.
Come on, you boys.
Yeah, come on, you boys.